Zero.
Did you try to time the
I
glasses off?
got it in the video.
Oh my gosh. Are you talking about Clark Kent if he was like
Well,
Asian?
I am I am the real life Asian Clark Kent, but some like I've said, there's been a couple people call me Spider-Man, so I've been called a couple superheroes, so
What about Donut Man? That'll go along
oh,
with your career.
this video is sponsored by Gatorade.
No, that's only funny when I do it. This one, oh, sorry. Branding, American Eagle out here, you know what I'm saying? All right, guys, welcome back to The Feeling is Mutual. We're going to double up episodes today to
Double
make up
down.
for the fact that we couldn't get one last week. We had our guest episode, go up with Nick Branscombe about breakups. I think that one's going to be a big hit to anybody that sees it. This one, we have brought a different topic today. We have brought double standards, and we're going to approach it generally, but obviously it can be related to relationships, stereotypes, norms, all kinds of stuff. And David, I'm going to let you go ahead and just take it away with your initial thoughts on some double standards you've seen in your life.
Most recent double standard is people shitting on Cal Cunningham for talking. Y'all can't see it, but Dylan's making a stupid ass fucking face. But um, and I can't tell you how many ads I've seen of Cal Cunningham fucked this other dude's wife or whatever they say. I don't know the whole story because I skip the ad every time I fucking see it. But I like how a lot of Republicans, and I'm not Republican or a Democrat, but I like how a lot of Republicans are shitting on Cal Cunningham for this. And I don't know the whole story of either one. I barely know anything about either one, but um, Trump was apparently accused of cheating on his wife, but they kind of shoved that under the rug. And that's the most recent double standard I can think of.
Well, it's a double standard, but it didn't get shoved under the rug. They actually, the first few months of his presidency, they talked about it consistently with paying off Stormy Daniels with campaign finance money. Like that's politics get dirty, and you're right. There is a major double standard with that. I think affairs in general kind of are like that. A lot of times, whether you're part of one or whether you know someone that's had one, a lot of times we defend it based off whether they agree with us politically or if we're close friends or not. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. I mean, some people say, well, like she was getting beat by her husband, which, we're not obviously in favor for. I mean, don't beat your wife, but like the idea that then she has an affair and then, a girl would literally say, or a guy might say it too, oh, that's okay because, her husband's an asshole. Well, when we start using other things to justify our own decisions, then you can't turn around and degrade somebody who's not your friend for doing the same thing. A lot of times in society, what we naturally do is we excuse the things that are in our corner. So our friends and family and, favorite celebrities, stuff like that, they can get away with a lot more with us because we're more patient with the people that we care about. So to what you're saying, the Kyle Cunningham thing is literally just for votes and trying to make him seem like a miserable person, which, as we've said before, good people can do bad things. It doesn't mean that you're the worst thing in the world because you had an affair or you've done, numerous other things. And we're obviously not saying that you should do any of that bad stuff either. But what we generally do as a society is we always back our people and shit on the other. And that's kind of the way this goes, and that's the political sense. I think a more literal one for me and you would be sports. A lot of times, I'll be having conversations with people that are defending their sports teams, and they'll defend an athlete with one excuse, and then won't give the same excuse to another athlete, and that's a big growing thing. And I think that this actually relates back to kind of the our hate episode where the more you allow these double standards too, it allows your negative image of whatever you're talking about to build in your head. And I think it's really dangerous to carry that kind of double standard because of the way that it impacts that. What are you looking at?
I'm just sharing our last video.
You shared our last video. Thank you for doing that. No, I mean, I would say your situation with your breakup's kind of a double standard. I think that
Very big
when we
double.
approach it, what?
It's a very big double standard.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we approach it, we look at it like it's only your fault and that there was no issues on the other side. And, we've tried to present it in a certain way on this podcast, but I think, going to the way that people that are not in your corner would view it, they would say that it's all your fault and that, you don't deserve any gracing for it. So, you can chime in on some of that real quick, let you get involved while I've been talking for like the last 5 minutes.
I'm like, when are you gonna shut up, dude? About double standard with my breakup.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you can think anything off of it, I would say that's a pretty big one.
I think that I don't know if that's necessarily double standard. I think this goes back to you said in one of our previous videos, the context. Like I was doing the stuff I did because of what she did to give me like it didn't just randomly pop up, hey, I want a threesome or stuff like that. Like there were things that happened on her end that kind of gave me an idea um, of wanting to have that. But like I said, I should have stopped doing that whenever she told me to stop. So, but other double standards I can think of, we talked about this in yesterday's video or today's video, I guess that we shot yesterday with Nick about the stigma of if you're a man and you cry, it makes you look weak. And actually, in the new song by Shawn Mendes, Wonder, one of his lines is what is it? What is it? I think it was like something like when I cry into my hands, I'm conditioned to make it feels me to make like it makes me feel like I'm less of a man. And we're kind of as men growing up, we're supposed to be like, oh, you can't fucking cry, you can't be a little bitch. And so if we do cry, then that's what we're called. But for girls, it's okay. But I guess since we're supposed to be masculine and they're feminine, and but I'm open if you want to cry, cry. I don't care. But I'm more of I guess I'm more modern and not traditional.
Well, I think you said something in there that really ties into the idea of the double standard initially is the context, right? So I think that if you're willing to dismiss what someone has done on your end, you're probably not, and you're not willing to accept, the same thing on the other end for somebody that you don't like. A lot of times you'll dive more into the context of why it happened on that other side. So, and you're more likely to ignore the one on your side because you're like, well, you've already dismissed it. And that's part of the double standard itself is there is context to every action and every, lack of action. So those things are very important and crucial. And yeah, you touched on a good point. I mean, when it comes to masculinity and femininity in our society, there's a huge double standard among sexes. I mean, this is one of the more prevalent things, I think we see with some of the identity politics and stuff like that. And I don't really want to dive into part of it, but a lot of it has now grown to where, you know, the way that we are raising men is in such variance, and the way that we teach them about where we came from is very dangerous. So, like that concept that you shouldn't cry it's idiotic. We talked about it last night, and I don't understand realistically where it came from. As far as like the idea that you can't show emotions, I guess, is more of the whole standardized the man has to be, like chopping down trees with a long beard and, you know, just support the family, kill an animal and bring it home for dinner kind of thing. I mean, like you said, it's not as modern as today where I think that, I think it should be more accepted that guys show those emotions. I don't think it's a sign that you're less masculine than any other guy. I think the more open you are with yourself and honest, the better. So that double standard itself is kind of silly. I think that that's one of the more, sex-based double standards. I think there are stereotype double standards ultimately where we accept some as insults and some as hilarity. I think that that's a growing thing where when it comes to dialogue between races, like you could hear whatever, like like me and you make jokes all the time about like because you're Asian, your eyes are more closed and
Fuck.
and like to some people they would consider that racist because I don't know it's like the context of that matters like that's an ongoing joke in our circle but realistically if you made some kind of joke about how white guys enslaved the world or some silly thing like we'd laugh it off and just understand the context that it's a joke. So double standards in that area for race in general are a major thing. in all societies, not just ours, obviously. I mean, I think our podcast is derived from basically from Western culture. I mean, like you go east and you see some of the way that, it's treated in like India where women don't have rights and stuff like that and all those variations in other countries, like that'd be a whole nother video.
Mm. Can't hear you for some reason.
Are you frozen right now?
There we go. I couldn't hear you. So that's why I
Oh
figured
Lord, that's gonna look really good on the video.
it was just a lag.
It was just a what?
I would be able to hear you again. I don't know what happened. Why that
Oh
happened.
yeah. Unstable internet's what it said. But no, it's the social fabric that is between people. I think one of the reasons that we are so divisive right now is because of double standards. Because, like we talked about, we would allow people that we care about to do certain things, and we wouldn't let people we don't care about do the same thing, and ignore the context of why certain things happen, why one is different than another, but still the outcome we shouldn't allow. And I think that that's what it comes back to is you can't say that things that are conditionally the same uh, done by different people don't hold the same weight. And I think that that is in every facet of American life, all the way from jobs, to politics, to just basic conversation, to your at home life. Like, I don't think that we should still be stuck in gender norms or stereotypes in the sense that, like, you call a girl lazy, like, like you stay at home moms, for example, like, they stay at home and take care of kids and clean the house. The more traditional one. I'm not trying to say like there's not a stay at home mom that actually doesn't do anything, but, stay at home moms that do like a lot of the extracurricular stuff around the house, and the dad comes home from work and he doesn't, clean anything, or he might take care, or he might help the kids out a little bit while she cooks or something, but that concept ultimately is a huge double standard because you can't then turn and call her lazy because she doesn't work, because at the end of the day she's doing so much work at home that you're not having to be a part of. So that is one of the more in home based stereotypes that exist out there. And then, if I don't know if I'm missing one off the top of my head, can you think of one yourself?
Yeah. I think there is a lot more pressure on males today because we were all grown up taught that the men are the breadwinners of the couple. And I still I don't believe that should be the case, but I still have it in my head that I've got to make this much money or so much money. Not necessarily have to make more than whoever I get with, but like I have to make a lot just because I feel like I'm a man, or since I'm a
It's definitely a double standard too to say that you're not successful compared to somebody else. Because think about this: like, if you got a job that you really loved and you made $30,000 a year, and then someone else had a job that they loved, and or let's say that they don't love, but they make $100,000 a year, and for them to say that you're not a successful person, I don't think that that's ultimately fair naturally. Because
that's how
if
it's
you're
looked at though.
no, that's going to be the way it's looked at. That is, a double standard. Is that you were saying that the dollar amount ultimately determines that one thing, and then that person might be miserable, go home and take it out on their family, but you could live under your means and then come home and be a very supportive, husband, father, and all those things. And I think that that goes into what we said. The context matters in a lot of those details before we can understand whether it's a double standard or it's just a outcome that, is naturally going to occur. And that's another part that we have to incorporate into double standards is sometimes there's a lack of control over these actual, you know, outcomes that result in us saying, well, that's not okay for it to happen, stuff like that. I think, we have to approach all these things with full objectivity and understand that if we hold those double standards in mind, then we're not only, I would say, the people that see us having them are going to judge us based off that, but we're going to start judging other people and saying that they are part of the problem. When realistically, if you're allowing one to do something and you're telling another they can't, then you're part of the divisive culture that is growing in America today. So, and to kind of wrap this up, and then we'll, I know it's going to be a short video, but we kind of figured it would be, but I still think it's a really important topic because um, over time, no matter what this election's outcome or anything like that, I want to tackle some of the things that cause the divisiveness in our country, and some of those will probably get some hot takes in there. Some of those will probably get a little bit more political than we try to be. So I'll try to be somewhat neutral on that. I know you will too. But like, I think that double standards, holding hate in your heart, those two things that we've touched on are two of the major things that ultimately draw a divisive culture in America and separate us not just politically, but on a social, you know, community. And I think that going on Twitter and, really, spewing out your feelings and going on Instagram and posting photos or Facebook, wherever it be, social media isn't the place to live your life. And I think a lot of people go on there and say what they truly feel and then hide their emotions. And I think there are also people that publicly display this kind of issue with the double standards and the lack of context and hating people for no reason that they don't even know, or that they're judging off their little bit of information, which the reality is that literally the double standard itself. If I don't know much about you, I can't just judge you on the bad things I know and not the good things that I don't hear. So that's ultimately the whole point of this whole episode is we just want people to understand that everybody, makes mistakes, and then also on top of that, the mistake that you're judging somebody for making might be someone else in your life that you love that you wouldn't think the same thing about could make that exact same decision and outcome, and you won't hold them to the same weight, and that's not good for the social fabric that we have in this country. So, David, you can do your wrap up thing, and then we're gonna get out of here, boss.
I did want to mention something for the female side because I think both of my points were for the male side. I I'm all for the feminist group. I'm not for the extremists, the extreme feminists. They take it too far.
Or you're traditional, not modern feminism, you're saying.
Yeah, like, well, even then, I'm like, I don't know how they were back then, but like, I believe in equal rights, equal pay. Um, it's not like that whole debate I told you that Zach had with his sociology, gender studies class. Like, you can't, like, it's science, like, that men are generally stronger than women. Um, but outside of that, like, I do think women can do your average woman can do just about anything a man can do, like as far as things that aren't physical. That's not to say that there aren't women who aren't stronger than me, because I'm sure there are plenty of them. Um, but on average, yeah, men are stronger. But outside of that, women should get paid just as much and should be treated just as fairly as men.
Oh, no, and that's the thing that I thought about earlier yesterday morning too, before we ever did our episode. I understand to the viewers of this audience that we're two guys talking, and generally a lot of our takes are going to be from a male perspective, but I don't want us to feel like we're excluding a female perspective either. I mean, a lot of what we can help is generated like in a guy's example, but I think that the content doesn't change. Like, we talked about breakups yesterday and all the stuff we said. I mean, like, the needing of your friends and stuff like that is all, that's applies to girls too. It's not just guys that feel that way. And I think that applies to this. Yeah. I mean, we touched on the stereotype roles for guys, but I also don't think like women should have to cook and clean. I mean, I spent my whole morning cleaning this house from top to bottom while Rebecca's at school, and I don't, think that should. I mean, I should be judged, yay or nay on that. I think that it's just, I was here and I was on my day off, so I should do it. Like, I don't think that we are trying to be sexist with this episode or, any of that. I mean, if there's any girl that watches this that thinks that what we made it seem like women are more judgmental. I mean, I think that guys are more judgmental of guys. Honestly, I think that just like, say women are harder on women than guys are. I think that's true too. I think that naturally, sexes attack the people that threaten them, and their insecurities. And I think that, that's where it comes back to. So totally women should be able to do all those things, like you said. And I mean, I feel like we have to say that because of the, climate that we live in where everybody is looking at the thing you didn't say to try to, attack you on it. So of course we want, you know, like for example, we call some guys are rewarded for having, crazy amounts of sex with girls, and then a girl does the same thing. We call her a whore. Like neither me or you are like that. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. I was going to bring that up too. Like if a guy has sex with 20, 30 girls, they're like, oh yeah, man. But if a girl has, oh man, that girl's a freaking whore.
I think that's a guy's insecurity. The guys that act like that are guys that are truly insecure about their own sexual like energy and like life. Like I've never been that person. Like maybe when I was like really young and I was too young to like have formed real thought like where I am now. But like I think it's a crazy stereotype and or not stereotype, but double standard like you said. And there are probably more that we don't know about that are in the female community. So like understand that we're attacking all double standards, and we're not trying to stand behind any of them. Like I said, I think that the more you hold, the more you paint a negative image of other people just because you differ from them in some way. So yeah, definitely girls watching this understand. Like I'm not gonna call David a badass if he's sleeping around with girls, and then he meets a girl that's also slept around with guys, or yeah, slept around with some guys. I'm not gonna be like, well, she's a whore. Like that's never gonna be the stance I take. I know it's not the stance you take, and like if someone will watch this and they can think of more, feel free to throw them in the comments, and we'll shit on all of them possible, honestly. And that's just that's what we're here to do. I mean, we're trying to tear it apart from the foundation of the double standard initially, anyways. So, all right, David, like this time, wrap it up, and then we're gonna do so.
Yeah. Short video, like Dylan said, maybe our shortest video, but we wanted
What, like 25 minutes probably?
maybe we wanted to just
23, 24 actually.
we want to just make up for we were both really busy last week and our schedules didn't match up, so we just wanted to put out another one and um, make it up to our 5 fans or whatever.
Well, David's the one that's usually busy. David's got all the extra stuff going on. What happens is David has small windows, and a lot of times if I have anything going on those times, it's tough for me to do it. So realistically, I don't think we can say that we are both very busy. I think that you're busy, and I'm
You were busy last
in
week.
the. So what?
You were busy last week.
A little bit. I mean, like I wouldn't have been able to record this morning because I was doing so much stuff. But I'm not constructively busy the way you are. I might be playing, UFC or Call of Duty some days, and that takes up some of my time. So I wouldn't say that those are busy moments. But no, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Go check out the Nick video. I think that's going to be our best one for a little while. I mean, it's going to be tough to top that.
Yeah.
We're going to try to do another guest here soon. We might end up bringing on a girl guest. I think that would be really good for our audience so that we don't seem so male driven. Because I thought about that, and I don't want that to be the demographic that we only hit one side. And we can start tackling female issues when we bring those guests on. So maybe we can understand things that we don't already know about, not just the opposite sex, but some of like maybe the double standards in that direction that we haven't even heard about. So, all right,
Yeah.
guys, that's the
About,
episode.
this,
Whoa,
this
you're
isn't just
good.
about this isn't just about white culture. I know Dylan's ghostly white, but apparently I'm the whitest person that my friends know. So um, we're trying to get it out to all demographics, blacks, Asians, Mexicans, all of that. This isn't just for white people or guys. It's for girls and everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't want
and
to, didn't want to
we,
exclude anyone.
oh no, we definitely want to bring in everybody as possible because I think that everybody has similar problems, no matter what race or class or sex you are. I mean, all these issues. Like that's why we chose, the name "The Feeling Is Mutual" because it's all going to be things that people naturally go through. We haven't picked something that's been whitewashed. It's not going to be like, how do you invest in corporate stocks one day and just like talk about something that's truly white America. I feel like everybody goes through breakups. Obviously, everybody diets. Everybody knows David with our first episode. But so we definitely want to branch this out, and we're going to do more of that in the future. We might, we'll have people of other races on our episodes too to help get some of those things across and talk about some of the deeper issues. And we'll try to, refrain from being too political and stuff like that, and try to include everybody as possible because that's what we want. We just want to benefit people in the best ways we can. So, David, End it however you want. I'm out.
Another last thing. I think we'll have another video out before then, but um, I think the last day to vote is November 3rd. Is that
Yes.
um, a lot of people will tell you to go vote. Um, I quite frankly don't give a shit if you vote or not. I've heard. I think I told Dylan. Maybe I told Dylan. I heard this one ad on YouTube because I'm on YouTube a lot, and it was like this little kid. He sounded like he was maybe 18, so it might be his first year voting. And he was like, "We don't want to be in the books whenever we have kids." And it's like, "Are you dumb? Why do you vote? Are you lazy?" I'm like, "No, you maybe you don't like either fucking candidate or but and like I'm all for like the people who say I'm voting because my great grandfather couldn't or great grandmother couldn't or like Emma said today marks the 100th year of women's suffrage. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But like, I'm not. If you vote, that's great. If you don't vote, I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me or bother me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you're not political, don't vote. I actually think it's bad when people vote uneducated, which I think is the most common thing in the voting cycle is a lot of people just go vote for whoever they
I feel
like
like
and
a
they
lot of
don't.
people shit on you though and disrespect you if you do not vote. I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I voted, literally 2 days ago. I don't think
So
it's a big
many,
deal.
so many people vote. It's not going to come down to one vote. It's not going to come down to that one person not voting.
Man, somebody's gonna hate this take. Somebody's gonna
Somebody's
hate
going to
this
hate it.
take.
I don't give a fuck.
All right, David, wrap this up and get us out of here, boss. For the third time.
All right. We will see you guys next week.